I realized that I create my future by myself after All Stars. Especially, I was sitting on the crowd and watching, and in my mind I had like one question: why can't I play here like next year or the world stage? It's just everything is up to me. I need to work hard for it, and actually I played more solo queue games in the last 3 days than the whole previous split, so it pretty much boosted me up.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am the D-Man Smith here, and of course Trevor Quickshot Henry is alongside me once again. It is time to get our next game started, as Millenium will be taking on the Supa Hot Crew. Now, both of these teams, they had to fight their way back into the European LCS via the Spring Promotion Series, with Millenium taking on Ninjas in Pajamas in a 7-hour epic clash, where they eventually came out victorious 3-2. That was not a fun game to watch, I've got to be sure. Looked good earlier, though. Earlier today, of course, Millenium did take on Roccat and ended up winning that game. From the picks and bans, it appeared that Millenium, well, they got their hands on just about everything they wanted.
Completely agree with you. Millenium definitely got a composition that they were happy with. They had a strong mixture of early and late game champions. They had options for team fights, for split pushing. They could find picks. More importantly, Millenium came out the gate swinging. So not only did they get comfort picks, Kerp on Fizz played particularly well. He helped secure first blood, allowed his team to secure an uncontested early dragon. They had a tower lead, which eventually led to a massive gold lead against Roccat. And the control didn't let up, because Millenium went on to finish 13-3-14 by the end of the game. They secured all 4 dragons, and that is the strongest, most convincing performance we've seen from Millenium all year.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic start for them. The Supa Hot Crew, well, they had to go through the Summer Promotion Series after finishing 7th overall in the league. In that tournament, of course, they faced and beat the strong opposition in the form of Cloud9 Eclipse. However, they beat them 3-0. And before the spring split, the Supa Hot Crew, they only had 2 days to prepare before being flung into this season, of course. This time around, they've had a couple of weeks to get ready, so let's see if they really stepped up their game. Of course, they have that new man on your screen, wewillfailer.
All right, so in the promotion matches against Cloud9, the Challenger squad was playing without their star jungler, Ku. But based on how well the Supa Hot Crew performed during that series, I'm not sure it would have made any difference at all. This team has changed since wewillfailer has replaced Mixer, as you've already pointed out, D-Man, and we'll need to see if he can avoid giving up as many deaths this split. The near-flawless play from Supa Hot Crew at Promotion Tournament, I really want to highlight again. I think it stemmed from the fact that the team found a style of play that worked for them. They took 8 out of 11 dragons. They got all 6 barons. They only conceded 6 towers in 3 games while securing 30 for themselves. It really exemplifies just how good and how well they were performing. So we'll need to see if Supa Hot Crew can continue that strong showing against a squad that gave them lots of trouble during the spring split. I want to briefly mention SELFIE. He played TF Lulu and Fizz. They were all champions we have not seen him on before, and he played extremely positively, 11-3-13. Contrast that to his Orianna LeBlanc, which we've seen during the regular split. It was a much better performance.
Okay, let's check out those starting lineups. Over on the blue side, it is Millenium. They're already 1-0 up. Let's see how they go in this game too. Kevin is in the top lane, KottenX in the jungle, Kerp has the mid lane, Creaton AD carry, and of course Jree as support.
And on the red side, it is the Supa Hot Crew, with Mimer up top, Impaler in the jungle, SELFIE in the mid lane, MrRalleZ and AD carry, and wewillfailer is the new face replacing Mixer.
So we've seen a couple of interesting new composition coming out. Copenhagen Wolves definitely running something different in that last game. Millenium in their game against Roccat got literally everything. The Lucian Thresh combo, the Jax in the top lane, Kerp on a happy times on Fizz, KottenX on Kha'Zix. We're not surely expecting similar picks and bans for this phase, because Supa Hot Crew would have been backstage. They would have been watching that game.
No, I don't think they're going to let them get their hands on everything they want, but they definitely need to try and focus some of the comfort picks. Lucian, for me, is going to be a priority here. It was both MrRalleZ and Creaton's most played champions, 12 times for each, respectively, during the previous split. And earlier today, Creaton had a great performance on the Lucian again. I also want to see how Millenium approach picks and bans now that they're on the blue side. When they were on red side, they definitely got a clear advantage. They forced Roccat or goaded Rocket into first picking Castanen as they didn't ban it away. They got that Jackson Thresh on first rotation, which denied it from their opponents as well as giving themselves strong picks. They don't have that same double pick, counter pick opportunity on blue.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Picks and bans underway. This is game 4 of Super Week, the first week of the summer split. Plenty of games to go, and of course, it all leads to that World Championships in Korea. Right now, though, we do see Lulu being banned out, Cassidy being banned out this time by Supa Hot Crew. That surprises me because Kerp is not playing that champion.
Yeah, what's even more surprising is the fact that you do that as your first pick. If you're on red side, save it till last. You don't give anything up. And if you have a player like Kerp who is not known for Cassidy, you can almost see, will Millenium ban it as their second or third and potentially give yourself the opportunity to ban something in addition. Nevertheless, it didn't happen, and as it looks like, there's a lot of focus on mid lane champions.
Yeah, SELFIE's getting hit hard here. Yasuo and, of course, LeBlanc being taken away. There is the Jax ban. They don't want to let Kevin on that one. Kevin, it is his actual favorite champion, that and Aurelia. So we'll see what he goes with. Aurelia is open. We'll see whether he picks on that one. We also see Morgana as the final pick, but the Rat has snuck through the first time as well. He's been banned out in all 3 games so far, and he's insta-locked.
Yeah, that was a very quick reaction from Creaton, making it very clear he wants a comfort pick. Thresh is still up and available, as is Fizz and Twisted Fate. The reason I highlight that, both Kerp and SELFIE have played those respective champions in the past. It's something they've got their hands on. We'll need to see how well Europeans do with Twitch, because it's not an AD carry that has been overwhelmingly associated with our region, especially towards the end of the spring split. Now today, however, it definitely looks like EU has cottoned on, and they've been trying to fire off those rat-a-tat-tats as best as possible.
So Lee Sin and Leona picked up there. Looking at Supa Hot Crew, I'm wondering whether we're ever finally maybe going to see the Rengar sneak through, because he's kind of back in there a little bit. Mimer, of course, the main Rengar player. We'll see what Millenium go with here, though. Impaler on Lee Sin, that's an interesting one for me, because we haven't seen him play a great deal of it in the spring split.
It's also a much more mechanically intense champion than we tend to see Impaler on, so we'll need to see how that works out. I was a very big fan of Impaler when he was playing his Pantheon towards the end of the middle of last split. Did a very good work on there. But as we've touched on, the Thresh was available, picked up by Millenium. I want to highlight that Ziggs is still up and available for selection. It was banned against Millenium by Rocket in game 1 of the day. It was last picked by Froggen, the game we've just witnessed. So it is something that could be secured here if it will work out in their favor. Supa Hot Crew playing a little bit. I'm not believing the Sion bait.
Yeah, Shyvana being locked in as well for Kevin in the top lane while Aurelia was open. That does surprise me. Of course, we saw Soaz on Aurelia earlier today. Didn't work out too hot there. We do also see Lucian being locked in. Thresh being locked in. I am watching it. I'm watching it. Don't worry. I see the Rengar. I'm not being baited into it just yet, though. I'm going to wait until they lock in.
Yeah, we'll need to see how that goes. I think the Dr. Mundo is definitely more of a traditional Mimer champion, played it 6 times in the previous split. Gonna swap away at the very last second. As you mentioned, the Aurelia definitely getting a lot more playtime. One of the big focuses for the design team for patches 4.6 and 4.7 was to try and give some more options and variety to top lane champions. And while it's not necessarily the champions that have received some reworks in the patch notes, we are seeing Aurelia coming back. We're seeing Shyvana back in the mix, because they've sort of fallen off towards the last weeks of the splits.
Don't let Morello know, though. He'll start nerfing. I don't think Aurelia can get nerfed any more than already possible. Of course, there is that Lucian lock-in. We are seeing Vayne currently hovered over. Creaton had a great game 1, honestly, earlier against Rocket.
Yeah, Creaton, he has the ability to do well when he's on a comfortable champion. If you think about him during the spring split, he would have games on Lucian where he would destroy people. And now he's playing Twitch. It's not something that we've seen him play a whole heck of a lot. You know, 12 times on Lucian, 6 times on Caitlyn, 3 times Ezreal. Twitch is not up there. If he's out of position, Lee Sin's going to jump on him. Aurelia is going to jump on him. Leona's going to jump on him. And he can just get squashed, get caught in a rat trap. So he needs to be very, very aware of where he's going to be and lining up that ultimate to hit multiple targets.
Well, Ziggs has been locked in. You talked about it. You said it may well get picked up on the last one for Kerp. It's a champion he's played a lot of. Evelyn also locked in by KottenX, a champion we haven't seen him playing a great deal of. He's been focusing on, of course, Nocturne and Kha'Zix in the past.
So the one thing I'm concerned about for Millenium, their front line is basically Shyvana. Shyvana is going to be standing in the front line with Thresh, trying to dissuade members of Supa Hot Crew getting onto his back line. But what Millenium can do very, very, very well is flank. If Shyvana and Evelyn come in from the side lanes and there's some poke that's gone down from that Ziggs, you are just going to clean house with Twitch and Ziggs in the follow-up. The problem is Millenium cannot get caught out of position, because if they are remotely in a bad position. Irelia, Lee Sin, Twisted Fate, Leona, they will pounce, they will kill, and they will force down objectives. So the key for Millenium in this game is going to be very much on positional play and vision. They cannot afford to get blindsided by the very mobile members and the quite hard engaged power that Supa Hot Crew does offer.
Yeah, and you talk about the hard engage. Both teams kind of going for that heavy aggressive style of teams. They're no focusing on this one. They are going to be looking for those kills. What do we think, though, overall? Team comps, who's got the better of these two?
It's going to all depend on positioning. I think both teams have the tools to punish their opponents when they are caught out of place. Because as much as I'm saying Millenium are going to be careful, if they find an over-aggressive Supa Hot Crew, they can punish just as effectively.
Well, we've seen some serious aggressive twitches catching people out over it at All-Star Paris. Well, the champions are about to hit the rift, so let's see who you guys at home think will win this one. According to the votes, it is very close. Supa Hot Crew coming out on top, 52% of you to 48%. That is probably about how I'd put it, maybe. Supa Hot Crew carried a lot of weight with them through the spring split.
I would have put it the other way personally. Based on how Millenium played in game one, their first game of the
Gotta
day.
remember the votes could have been cast like a week ago.
Touche. I don't care. They should have jumped on there and voted anyway. But I
Once
think
you voted, you can't change it.
Millenium look good. Millenium look good. So we'll need to see who brings it in this game and who's in the right position at the right time.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 4 underway. Millenium facing off against the Supa Hot Crew. Millenium, of course, already 1-0 up. Supa Hot Crew, this is their first game of the summer. And, of course, that new man, wewillfailer, back once again. He played back in way back for Fnatic in Season 1 as a substitute in the group stages of the World Championships. And here he is once again, Season 4. He played in Season 3 as well, of course, for
Lemon Dogs.
Lemon Dogs, of course he was.
Yep.
Back in the summer split.
Played for 2 or 3 weeks of memory serves.
Yeah, DreamHack and in Moscow.
Yes, correct. So he has some stage experience, which is great. And we'll have to see if his interesting choice of name is a bad omen. As it stands, 54 seconds on the clock. We have seen some invades in all of our previous games. They haven't amounted to a lot. It has really just been a vision and a counter vision in terms of invades. And this is the first time that I think we may see a really heavy engage because all of Millenium could bump into Supa Hot Crew.
Well, if anyone is going to do that 5-man invade, it would be Millenium. It's something they did throughout the spring. Not to varied success, I think it's safe to say. Oh, there we go. We didn't actually mention this. The fact that the scrying orb was picked up by Kevin. We saw it used there to try and start this invade.
So this is something that teams are doing on 4.7. Opting to start with the scrying orb, getting the vision down and deciding, do we want to invade? Do we want to push forward? It will allow whoever's going to recall to sell that trinket and pick themselves up a yellow trinket or a red trinket, as you can see Kevin is doing right now. So he can return to lane, have that ward available for when he really needs it in a minute or so's time. And it's just a new tactic to try and get as much advantage with as little risk as possible in the early stages.
So, for the first game today, it's looking like we may have standard lanes. Looks like it's going to be a 2v2 down that bottom. 2 top laners will be in their ordinary positions. Of course, we've had 2v1s for the last 3 matches. So we'll see how this one works out. Kerp missing the first bomb there. That's not ideal in this opening stages.
Now, I want to touch on the fact that the last time we've seen SELFIE was again at the promotion tournament. It was against Cloud9 Eclipse, and he played exquisitely. I think his Destiny ganks were very good. He rarely picked the wrong color card. He got all the golds that were important. He managed to get the slows when there was multiple targets to hit. I would like to see if he can channel that same performance now as the stakes are... Well, I guess you could argue promotion was probably higher, actually, because their jobs were on the line. Now it's going to be looking to see, can they beat a team that they struggle to deal with loss splits?
This is the first time we get to see this 2v2, as I mentioned, down this bottom lane. Thresh and Twitch up against, of course, MrRalleZ with his new support, wewillfailer. And of course, if you cast your mind back to the days with Mixer, that when they hit level 2, that's when they go aggressive. We want to see whether wewillfailer will do the same alongside Creaton. It's
going to be so risky if they do it with this combination, because if Leona does go for that level 2 or level 3 engage and doesn't land the stuns 100% accurately onto Creaton, the ability to get punished by the Twitch and the damage of Thresh is going to be very high. We'll get to that in a second. SELFIE may be in trouble.
Yeah, that's going to be a double buff. KottenX coming in. He's already been bounced around, but he's going to maybe get away from this one. He actually comes back in as well. That's a confident play from SELFIE.
Well, Ghost burned. So
yeah.
KottenX at the very least got one of the summoner spells from SELFIE. Unfortunately, it wasn't going to be enough to get any kills. Let's see if some stuns can land.
Impaler spotted out by that ward. Is he going to go for this one? Lands the Sonic Wave onto Jree. Will not follow through. Was spotted out, of course, by that ward in there wherever he's spotted by the vision there. KottenX, he's hanging around still. He's not going to get spotted out at these rates, so he's going to take these for free, knowing, of course, that Impaler was down the bottom lane.
We'll see how effectively it works out. You know, KottenX has had a gank already that's worked successfully. Impaler on this Lee Sin, he's got some time to play with. You know, I think both of these teams are going to scale fairly effectively, but I would definitely be worried about Kevin. If he gets to a point where he can 1v1 Mimer on Irelia and can push him around the map, then it's going to be very difficult for Supa Hot Crew to contain him. Mimer, I don't think they were going to dive him. It's very scary to dive in Irelia under the tower, so wisely KottenX backs.
Yeah, I think he's just checking out the ground, of course. Taking away the large golem, taking away the gold, effectively, from Impaler, who has stuck around in that bottom half of the jungle for quite some time now, and again, is looking to try and create a kill.
We'll see if he can get this lane gank to work. Once again, it's all going to be on wewillfailer. In order for that to work out in favor... Oh, SELFIE's in trouble.
Oh, he's going to flash away. So both summoner spells have been burned there, and that's simply by Kerp making plays. Ignite was used.
That was very well played by Kerp. He understood his damage. Oh, they've caught Jree.
They're going to go in towards him. Jree isn't going to be able to get away from this one. Throws out the hook, not going to land it. And Creaton happily just laid down the damage, and that's another game from Supa Hot Crew.
That was pretty good play from wewillfailer. He landed the Zenith Blade onto Jree, dashed forward, and then got the stun onto Creaton. Even though Jree got the flay to sort of interrupt that Zenith Blade, it wasn't enough to put distance between him and Creaton. So Impaler still sniffing around. It feels like Impaler is trying to force a gank that is not optimal. You know, we talked about how MrRalleZ and wewillfailer are in a lane matchup that's very difficult. Impaler stood on top of walls.
Impaler stood on top of a pink ward. He sees that, surely. I mean, I know he's blind, but come on, now he sees it. There we go. SELFIE's in trouble. He's not going to be able to get away from this one. There is first, but KottenX is going to lock that one down.
Yeah, unfortunately, KottenX and Kerp, just better communication, better calling. They managed to bait SELFIE in. It took too long for Impaler to react, to jump in there with a safeguard. No flash from SELFIE. I also want to say that Impaler was really trying to force something. Instead of just going back to his jungle and farming up and trying to get some CS under his belt, he was really trying to help mitigate the weak laning phase of Lucian Leona. And while it has somewhat helped, MrRalleZ is only 6 CS behind. I don't know if it's worth giving up that first blood. I don't know if it's worth the missed farming opportunities that Impaler has already given up. He's going to try again. This time looks a little more positive on Kevin, but Kevin's got Dragon's Descent.
Well, he hasn't been level 6 yet, whereas Kevin has, as you mentioned. Dragon's Descent is available. It's already been stunned up. There it is. The ulti just to pounce away. Scot-free, and really not too worried about that one, I don't think, Kevin.
No, he's got his teleport available, so if the wave is pushing very heavily towards him, he can obviously TP back. Decides he doesn't even need to. Just comes right back into lane. Still got Dragon's Form up and running. Will be timing out shortly. But I think overall, Millenium doing pretty well in this early game. KottenX has had a more positive influence on the map. And Impaler maybe feeling the pressure. Maybe trying to bite off a little more than he can chew when he doesn't need to. As it stands, his lanes have actually been holding even. And we'll need to see what SELFIE does. You know, if Impaler had time to gank with SELFIE's Destiny Ultimate, that could be very, very different. Combo the gold card, combo Dragon's Rage, kick backwards, and all of a sudden you may have a kill on the board for Supa Hot Crew.
We'll see whether they do manage to go aggressive. As of yet, it is staying fairly even in lanes, as you mentioned. No surprise, Mimer just put himself a little bit ahead after the Impaler pressure, but Kevin teleports to the top, so teleport will not be available for 200 seconds, of course, went to the tower. We do see Mimer doing exactly the same, and again, SELFIE taking some serious damage. Kerp seems to be on a mission in this opening Super Week.
Kerp is doing well, and you can see why Rocket banned Ziggs against him. You know, the very first game of the day, it was the very first ban from Rocket. They did not want Kerp to be on that comfort pick. He is completely 1v1ing SELFIE, but it has not actually garnered him any advantage outside of the assist. And even that was because of KottenX. CS is about even. SELFIE is going to be earning a little bit of bonus roll thanks to his passive as well as loaded dice. So we'll see how it works out. And Kevin already pushing Mimer around, even on levels, but he's got a Giant's Belt, so a lot tankier at this point in time.
course, Creaton gone back, going towards that Blade of the Rune King. No surprises there. It's the assassin Twitch that we may well start looking towards. Impaler, he's coming down towards his mid lane, but he's spotted out by the Warden. KottenX and Kerp are ready to try and steal this blue buff.
We'll see if they can make it. There is a lot of burst damage that Kerp can put down.
Oh, he's got it!
He gets it!
He got it! Kerp managing to steal it away nicely there with a Mega Inferno Bomb, and that's going to be a problem because Destiny cooldown is, of course, quite long.
Yeah, and I just missed the timing on that smite, but I think Impaler opened the blue buff with smite as opposed to using it to secure. They didn't anticipate that invade or the potential steal. And again, Impaler just little mistake, little error costing them that objective. The one thing I want to note, as we are getting to the stage now that teams are going to start roaming, the moment Twisted Fate throws down the Destiny, the stealth from Evelynn and the stealth from Twitch will be negated. It is a very important thing to note for team fights, because as we've said, if Supa Hot Crew can catch Creaton out, that is a large portion of their damage that has been removed. We'll need to see who's going to make the first move for Dragon. With both teleports down from the top laners, it will only happen after one team secures a kill, because I don't think either team wants to go for that challenge without having the support of their top lane.
While this is all happening up in the top lane, Kevin has been farming between those towers quite happily. Of course, all the pressure being drawn down, so Impaler can't interfere on this one so far. So I'm not too worried about that one, of course, on MrRalleZ, so can quite easily tank up on the turret. Impaler trying to take advantage, knew the position of KottenX there because he just took down the pink ward at the back of the red buff, so he's going to successfully come around, steal away those wraiths. Meanwhile, the rest of the Supa Hot Crew trying to steal away the vision in this bottom lane. We'll see whether SELFIE can create a play off this, but he may be in trouble. As you mentioned, the Rubizewski comes on down. Again, it's going to be KottenX locking him up, but he's going to use that ghost to get away. Along with a flash, he's still taking a lot of damage. He's in dangerous play. You can see Kerp comes in. The passive is there, and that's a lot of damage coming out. And again, really ballsy play coming out from Supa Hot Crew, but it backfired.
Yeah, the gusto was just way too much there. SELFIE was thinking he could get the gold card and allow Impaler to go for the execute with his Sonic Wave and Dragon's Rage combo. It didn't work out. He took too much damage. It was a flash from Kerp that allowed him to get in range to get that last chunk of damage down. But what I like from KottenX, because of the repeated ganks of mid lane, it has prevented SELFIE from using his ultimate. Because SELFIE has not had the opportunity to impact the side lanes, Millenium are doing a very, very good job at controlling the mid lane opponents. Earlier today, in the post-game analysis of Millenium's matchup, we know Millenium, they don't mind giving opponents Kassadin because they feel they have a strategy that can counter it. They demonstrated that today. Now, again, against a Twisted Fate, Millenium are demonstrating an ability to control their opponent's mid lane champions 2 games for 2.
And this is important to note, the fact that Millenium, during the spring split, honestly had trouble in the lane phase. They really never came out strong. It's something, if you look back to maybe the summer of 2013, where actually they pretty much dominated for the opening couple of weeks of the summer LCS, they didn't have the problems. They went aggressive. Is this the return? Maybe with KottenX making those plays, he's obviously been involved in 100% of the action so far in this mid lane. Obviously came in to replace Aranea pretty late. It's safe to say it was, what, week 9, 10,
week 9
something like that of the spring split. Is this Millenium turning the corner?
Well, this is 2 games on the day that they have come out swinging. They have got an early advantage, and they are not afraid to pick engage, and they're picking the right ones. So now KottenX may get caught out. There's the Destiny.
Yeah, he's going to be able to catch on. No, that's KottenX getting quite easily away from that one, honestly. The flash was used, of course, someone has spelled down, but this is going to be the Dragon started by Supa Hot Crew.
Now, there's no vision from Destiny, and the Mega Inferno Bomb will hurt. If Millenium go in for this, they're going to be a little split. Let's see on the positioning.
All 5 of them were caught by that Mega Inferno Bomb. The rest of Millenium close in there. Here comes Kevin, Dragon descent available, pounces through, destroys Impaler where he stands. That means, of course, the jungler is down. Rat-a-tat-tat was coming out from Creaton. Doesn't matter, KottenX already picked up the Dragon, and well, Millenium coming out with a kill and the Dragon. That is bad, bad news for Supa Hot Crew.
Supa Hot Crew, instead of trying to pounce on a target and try get kills, they decided to run away. So as they were backing away, they lined themselves up for all of the damage from Millenium, and that was just a very good flanking maneuver. We touched on how good Siobhan and Evelynn can be in those positions, in those moments, and Kevin, with a very good teleport and a well-timed Dragon's Descent, ends up winning Millenium the team fight. They get the Dragon. They also get the first tower of the game in the mid lane. And for the second game today, they've got a few thousand gold lead and are looking very, very strong coming out of the laning phase.
And something I'm noticing from Kerp, of course, because the fact that SELFIE is on Twisted Fate, he's got no gap closes. He's not going to pounce on you. He's not an assassin. Kerp is using that rubber ducky or the satchel charge, whichever you like to prefer to call it, aggressively. He's doing it, throwing it out. It's the first bomb he throws out. The bomb will follow the satchel charge. So he's setting up, getting that stun, simple target. And that's maybe just simply the confidence that Kerp now is having after what a great performance against Overpower.
I would go as far as to say that's just Kerp. I mean,
Kerp,
if you go back to Battle of the Atlantic, when Kerp was playing, it was under the name Alternate, of course, they destroyed CLG, and he was playing Gragas at the time. His barrels were absolutely flawless. So he's just on a champion that's skill shots, that's positional play on those bouncing bombs, and doing a very good job. I do want to give credit to SELFIE. He has been ganked and camped fairly frequently, and he is only 2 CS behind. He has, of course, given up 2 kills, but you've got to give some props to the person who's playing the defensive. He's got himself that is Athene's Unholy Grail. Non-traditional Twisted Fate item, but I think because of the pressure he's under from Kerp and those bouncing bombs, the additional MR and the cooldown reduction will allow him to get those wild cards out, allow him to farm from safety and really just play a little more scared. Let's see if this works. He doesn't even have his ultimate, so it's just warding.
Destiny is not available, but KottenX has spotted him out there, sees the ward in. The bombs are getting thrown through, and I think Kerp is thinking of trying to set up a play here. No, they're going to back away from it, but again, it could be another blue invade. They stole the last one.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll work out this time. Kerp doesn't have vision, blind, and doesn't get it.
It was close though, very, very close. SELFIE does get the blue buff. First blue buff of the game for him. While that was happening, Mimer was actually down at the blue buff of Millenium. I don't think he got it. He was definitely down. I think he was simply warding out though.
Yeah, getting some vision down, does not have the blue buff on. Mimer's actually built himself up a small CS lead, was able to get back to lane, decides not to chase Kevin, and that was actually quite smart, I feel. Millenium have had very good vision in Supa Hot Crew's jungle for the majority of this game, and because of the fact that Mimer didn't have wards himself, he wasn't confident. You never know where Evelyn is. You never know where Twitch may be, even though they haven't roamed just yet. Mimer playing a little safe, backs off, doesn't run the risk of getting caught out.
Those double stealth mechanics is causing a lot of pain, and you can see, of course, Supa Hot Crew sitting on those pink wards. They've got another 2 in their bags right now. They've had plenty of them out on the map, but they keep getting cleared out by Millenium, and it's giving Supa Hot Crew money issues. Of course, they are 2,000, 3,000 gold behind, but you add on top the amount of money they're having to invest in those pink wards, it is starting to cause problems. If you look at the vision across the map, it is very much Millenium in control.
Yeah, Millenium have been doing this the whole game. I mean, every time I look at the minimap, there are 2 to 4 wards fairly deep in Supa Hot Crew's jungle. What is very nice is having the Evelyn on your side does give you the opportunity to move in at a lower risk, because there has to be a pink ward to walk over in order to get revealed. So at the very least, you can get deeper wards. But I do want to go back to the fact that Impaler, he spent so much time in the opening minutes of the game trying to force a gank from MrRalleZ and wewillfailer. It's put him 12 CS behind, he's got a death to his name, and I haven't really felt a strong impact from this Lee Sin, which is a champion that you do associate with very early ganks, very early kills, and Impaler simply hasn't found them yet. But it is not completely too late. Supa Hot Crew are only a tower and maybe a dragon behind in gold, so we'll see if they can contest the next objectives.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think whether we've actually seen Impaler using that Dragon's Rage kick yet. I don't believe. Maybe there's must be one or two in there.
He died too quickly in the Dragon fight previously, so unfortunately he could never get the Chuck Norris roundabout kick off.
Yeah, not happened so far. This bottom lane, Creaton maybe looking to go aggressive, but Impaler is there, ready and waiting to go this time around. There's the solar flare lands. Jree is going to come out. Destiny will come through. This time the stun cup is on Jree. He pulls him in towards the tower. He may go down with the price to it, but that tower's putting a lot of damage. Creaton tries to get that rat-a-tat-tat down, but it didn't quite do enough damage this time around. We do see Millenium. They're coming down the river.
The question is, what can Supa Hot Crew get? They've only got a limited number of minions to work with, and they may get surrounded. It'll still be 3v4. I don't know if Millenium want this. That's a lot of damage. They do now.
3 members caught out by that Mega Inferno bomb. There's the satchel charge, bouncing them back around. They're going to try and lock up Creaton instead. They're diving in towards him. Kerp is being caught off the side there. He gets one down. He turns onto a SELFIE. It's a good stun, but then bombs are going to be ready. He misses it. Doesn't land it on there. Then Ignite goes down. SELFIE does get taken out by KottenX. And now wewillfailer's going to get targeted down here. They haven't got enough to dive the tower. And it turns out to be a 2-for-1. Well, 2-for-2 if you count the last kill on Jree.
So in the wrap-up fight, Millenium are able to grab themselves 2 kills at the cost of only Kerp. Had Supa Hot Crew had better positioning and targeting, they may have been able to get away a little more effectively. But MrRalleZ was motoring towards the tower. He was separated. Take a look at how SELFIE stays behind. They don't have vision on Creaton. So 4 members of Supa Hot Crew, they've got a line, but they split up 2v2. You see wewillfailer comes in to try and focus down Creaton, and I guess, unfortunately it was only MrRalleZ who was far away. He gets shut down by the bouncing bombs of Kerp. 2-for-1, Supa Hot Crew, it was a bad position to be in. They simply took too much damage from the Mega Inferno Bomb.
In the top lane is actually taken pretty low. There is the blue buff going back across the Kerp. So he will get himself topped off with that one. Meanwhile, SELFIE yet to get his own one once again. Dragon is up, and I wonder if that may well be the target. We see the pings going down towards it in the river already.
Yeah, I also want to highlight that Creaton has had his Blade of the Ruined King for a few minutes already, working his way towards a Zeal at the moment, so probably Phantom Dancer is his next item. If Creaton decides to roam around the map, he can go for those ambush burst combinations. You know, get the Blade of the Ruined King down, use that Rat-a-tat-tat and combo with the Mega Inferno Bomb, and all of a sudden somebody's dead. So we'll see how Creaton plays his Twitch. It is what we see out of other regions when they play Twitch. So that's why I'm mentioning it.
Well, we get another 3 pink wards in the inventory of Supa Hot Crew. They really are investing a lot in keeping this coverage, and when there is an Evelyn and a Twitch, it makes complete sense. They're trying to get some coverage over towards his Dragon right now. Kerp with that lantern nearby will just scoot away from that one, and they're actually making tracks down towards the bottom here. KottenX is not going to get spotted. That's not a vision ward. He will be able to sneak up on MrRalleZ.
Now, MrRalleZ does have the support of Impaler, so it'll be 80 carry and jungler versus 80 carry and jungler. If Impaler doesn't get a good Dragon's Rage kick, they're going to be in trouble.
Going to catch on towards him, but he's going to get spotted out. The ping ward's just off the side, but there's too much damage going down. Destiny comes in, though. He's going to try and teleport it towards him. Mimer comes down here. He's going to get the stun up. Oh, he didn't quite get the kill. The Ignite running. No! The shield is enough for Impaler to just about survive.
Yeah, this time around, Impaler actually kicks KottenX in the direction that MrRalleZ would want it to have run. As we said, needed to be a good kick, needed to prevent more damage coming down, and the burst was just too high. So MrRalleZ 1, 2, and do. Because of his death, it allows Millenium to get themselves on the Dragon. This should be his second Dragon of the game, as they forced Supa Hot Crew away previously, and they do secure it uncontested.
That one's quite an easy one. I was just wondering whether wewillfailer was going to dive in there. I was like, hey, buddy, you've got no team with you right now. Of course, we've got to see how the communication is between these teams. So, 2 towers for Millenium. Top and middle gone down. Here's the fight we missed.
He interrupted it. The Destiny was going down, being channeled by SELFIE, and because of the satchel charge, it meant SELFIE couldn't join the fight. So Kerp, again, with a great play, ensuring that there was no additional support. Had SELFIE got to that bottom lane, Supa Hot Crew could have picked up more kills and potentially got the Dragon themselves. So Kerp really putting on his carry pants today and delivering for Millenium.
And of course, just hit 200 CS, the first man on the board to do that. In fact, speaking of players, let's take a quick glimpse across at the items we can see. Of course, the top laner's Trinity 4 is now completed by Mimer, now going towards the tanky, probably Randian's Omen, maybe coming out next. Kevin, meanwhile, he's got the Sunfire Cape, Randian's Omen almost certainly coming out in just a moment. Mid laners, we did talk about both Athenes being picked up early on. They are both, of course, Rabadon's Death Cap now completed by Kerp, meanwhile Zhonya's being picked up by SELFIE.
The window of opportunity for Supa Hot Crew to contain Millenium is getting drastically smaller as this game has gone on. Millenium have got both towers secured from the top and middle lane. They're about to grab themselves the third tower. If they stick around, the tower's getting very low. And they've accrued a 5,000 gold lead. wewillfailer's about to run into 3. I think this could end badly.
Oh, they're going to spot KottenX there, of course. The ultimate Destiny will show him out there. He puts a lot of damage down towards him, tries to stun lock them as much as he can, but there we go. wewillfailer gets hooked up. Death Sentence in there. Destiny again did not come down from SELFIE. I'm pretty sure that must have been interrupted by Kerp. Either that, he just chose not to come. There is the tower. 4 members of Millenium keep on pushing because Kevin teleported down in towards this fight. They're going to keep pushing his bottom lane.
Somebody needs to give Kerp a cookie because that's the second Destiny he's interrupted. SELFIE tried to use it in the middle of the river and Kerp just ran up to him, popped the satchel charge. It prevented the Destiny coming into play. Millenium continue the pressure on this bottom lane. They've got a minion wave backing up, and thanks to the great poke that Kerp can put down, there's very little Supa Hot Crew can do to defend. If they group up, look for a Mega Inferno Bomb, this is going to give them the tower.
Oh, it only caught one, but there's going to be Impaler hooked in. They follow straight through on it. They managed to get the flare onto MrRalleZ, and Millenium may well have gone too deep on this one. wewillfailer gets in there. Great Solar Flare locks down one in the form of KottenX. That tower's still yet to fall, and that's actually a big sacrifice for Millenium because they gave up the top turret for this one. Impaler comes in. Oh, Kerp's going to get away. That red buff not quite enough to take him down. Slither of health, 18 hit points I think he was on at the end there.
That was incredibly close. If Impaler wasn't able to flash with Jree flying behind him, that would have gone very differently. Because Jree followed up the death sentence and chased Impaler deeper into the territory, we're about to see it. pay very careful attention that as Thresh starts flying, Impaler gets knocked away, and it was the satchel charge. It was the satchel charge that pushed them further back. D-Man, you said it perfectly. Over-aggression on the side of Millenium. They didn't focus down the tower, and because Creaton was trying to look for kills as opposed to finishing the objective, I mean, Supa Hot Crew had that extra man, that extra force of damage to play into their favor. Supa Hot Crew get a momentary respite. They prevent losing in a turret, but it is a very, very scary situation for them right now.
However, Mimer has been unlocked now. That top turret went down. We'll see next fight when he starts getting involved, but you can already see from Millenium, they've got 2 Randian's Omens already on Kevin and KottenX. Obviously, that's not going to be the focus of target of Mimer. He's going to be looking to try and dive on towards Creaton. And I wonder, with those 2 squishy carries, I'm just seeing Impaler getting caught out. He's going to be able to dodge out of the damage from Kerp there. We'll get caught out. There's a lot of damage coming out. Mega Inferno Bomb will get sidestepped. Kerp is on a mission right now.
Kerp is playing out of his skin. But you know what? That's also not fair because the rest of Millenium are doing everything that they need to. Every time a gank or a counter gank comes down, Millenium's communication is good enough that Kerp realizes SELFIE's going to be using that Destiny, puts himself in a position to get the damage done. And thanks to the superior vision on Millenium's side, it has allowed Kerp to see where SELFIE is and interrupt that ultimate. At the same time, Millenium have pushed more dragons, they've pushed more towers, they've forced more team fights, which is why they've got the advantage in the kill score. I also like Millenium's chances at sieging. If they get themselves under a tower, the front line of Millenium, of Shyvana and Evelyn, is quite a deterrent if Supa Hot Crew all jump in. And assuming Creaton doesn't get insta-gibbed, he can just line up that spray and pray and put damage down for days. So we'll need to see how Supa Hot Crew play this one out. They're down to their inner turrets, and it is a very difficult line to break.
Oh, KottenX caught out. Destiny will show him. Caught him towards a ping ward as well. Impaler does get him towards him. Can't get around the back of him. And now Creaton comes in. Rat-a-tat-tat running and just mows down Impaler. Catching on towards SELFIE. SELFIE trying desperately to get away. He's got no summoner spells available. The hook could come out from Jree. But the Zhonya's, well, you're dead still, son. You're not going to get away from that one. No doubt about it. And actually, it was Jree that picked up the kill.
That is so, so unfortunate. Impaler commits to the fight. SELFIE lands and he pulls a red card, doesn't land the stun, and unfortunately, Supa Hot Crew don't grab themselves a kill. And that's just, every time Millenium are in a little bit of trouble, Supa Hot Crew make a small misplay, and it allows Millenium to get further ahead.
Kevin having to run defensive duties there, trying to cover off that top lane. Of course, Mimer trying to buy himself some time. Mimer with teleport available, Dragon up in 17 seconds, and the timer's somewhat off here from Millenium. You can see KottenX and Jree were sticking around there trying to clear out those ward coverages of Supa Hot Crew. The Dragon will be up in 5 seconds, but Supa Hot Crew are ready for this one.
Yeah, the problem for Supa Hot Crew, though, is if they give up this Dragon, the gold lead starts to become even more insurmountable. Mimer is not tanky enough to really deal with Millenium at the moment. He's only got the Spectre's counter Giant Spell. That's not enough to survive the physical damage Creaton's putting down, the physical damage that Kevin can put out, even the high amount of magic damage with the Sunfire Cape and his burnout. In addition to all of that, there simply isn't enough magic resistance on the whole Supa Hot Crew to survive Kerp. So at any time, if Supa Hot Crew get involved in a prolonged Dragon engagement, Kerp is just going to throw bombs all day long, and once he's happy, he'll commit for the kill. Creaton looking for the ambush, doesn't get it this time.
Going to work out. Of course, he saw the same thing happening. Thought, took Faker down just like this way. Maybe I can do it against SELFIE. Not going to happen this time around. This is going to be a Dragon for Millenium, no doubt about that one. Supa Hot Crew in no position to yet. And
this is the point in the game where Supa Hot Crew need to capitalize on a mistake from Millenium. Because of the control that Millenium have afforded themselves with the gold lead, with the vision, and with the siege power of the Ziggs under their belt, in order for Supa Hot Crew to get back in, they need to have more wards down, and they need to jump very quickly on a member of Millenium, pull the right card if you're Twisted Fate, and kill a target. It has to be a Ziggs, it has to be a Twitch, and then hope that the power of numbers can work in your favor, because it will take a prolonged amount of time to kill both KottenX and Kevin in any fight, thanks to Sunfire Randians, as well as Agony's Embrace, the shield that KottenX will get.
And of course, we should mention, of course, that Millenium did have a 3-1 advantage in the head-to-head last spring. So despite Millenium finishing bottom of the league, this is the only team, Supa Hot Crew, that they had a positive score against. And so far, so good for Millenium. And they could be 2-0 top of the league at the start of today. I
distinctly remember one particular engagement where Jree was playing Thresh and Kerp was playing LeBlanc, where Millenium went 27,000 kills to 2 against Supa Hot Crew, and they just blew them up over and over and over, and every single skill shot landed. I also remember Jree pulling Kevin on a mid lane lantern gank, just flying across the map. Millenium have got champions they're super comfortable with. These are all preferred, favored picks, and they are doing wonders with them. If you look at Supa Hot Crew, I don't really think of Mimer as a #1 main Irelia player. Impaler, I prefer him on champions like Pantheon, Vi, etc. SELFIE, while he's done better on Twisted Fate in the past, it's simply not delivering here and now.
MrRalleZ is trying to buy some time for the team, trying to do anything he can to keep them off the towers, but there's only a matter of time. There's only so many ultimates you can run to keep them away from these waves of minions. Bottom lane, we saw Kevin is going to keep Kurt and Mimer away, and Mimer doesn't really want to go one-on-one with him anymore.
No, so he can't. He can't get through the tanky stats that Shyvana has available, and this is a tactic Millenium do many times when they get Ziggs. Mega Inferno Bomb will allow them to get damage in the tower, potentially, eventually get the tower. And all Millenium are looking for, land the poke from Kerp, get the damage on the tower. If a fight breaks out, Kevin will just teleport in. But Supa Hot Crew can't contend. They're too low on HP.
Yeah, SELFIE taken to half hit points. They actually dodged the Mega Inferno Bomb, and that was simply a satchel charge and a bouncing bomb that caught down. You can see that tower almost down. They will finally step away from that one, but they know most of their work is already done. Not going to be too many hit points left on that tower. Creaton going to go back and buy. You can see he's got 1,000 gold in his pocket, up to 10,900 as opposed to MrRalleZ, only 9,500. And you can see Kerp, the difference there, big difference for him, of course, and in the top lane as well. It's only about a 500 gold differential, but the jungle is really the big one. 2,000 gold difference for KottenX, of course, because he has been involved in almost everything that's happened for Millenium so far.
Yeah, multiple dragons to his name, additional towers, more kills, more assists. At this point in time, KottenX is just doing a better job. I had wondered why Millenium backed away from that mid lane, and it felt like they had the ability to siege longer. But what I did notice is as they backed away over the last 10 or 15 seconds, a few of their wards on the blue side of the, red side of Supa Hot Crew's jungle have timed out. So it looks like Millenium have backed away. They picked themselves up cheap. Blue trinket, KottenX has had that for a little while. Gonna make sure that they don't face check, don't run into something they're not ready for. And I wonder if Millenium don't want to start playing the Baron bait. Get some wards around red, the red side of Supa Hot Crew's jungle. Force them to come to you, and as Supa Hot Crew are moving in, use the stealth power of KottenX and Creaton, plus the bombs from Ziggs to just blow everyone up. Because as it stands, Millenium have so many tools that they can use. They just have to pick one and commit to it.
We'll see how it works out for them. Of course, vision issues were one of the problems back in the spring. Of course, they sometimes went a little too deep, a little too aggressive, and caught themselves out of position and basically put themselves in hot water despite the leads they built up. Here we go though, you can see Kerp getting some poke off. Destiny coming out there. I'm not sure SELFIE wanted to go for that one. There is the ultimate coming down. KottenX is in there. Zhonya's Hourglass mitigates a lot of the damage. SELFIE does manage to flash away, and Impaler's going to get focused on Kevin, trying to put the Dragon's Rage all over him. wewillfailer going to get locked down. Creaton gets out safe. KottenX now, he's going to get locked up. MrRalleZ trying to put the damage down. He will get a kill, but maybe to the detriment of his own life as the Ignite burns him down. There's the bouncing bombs coming back in once again. It was a 2-for-1 engagement again in favor of Millenium.
That could have gone so much worse for the Supa Hot Crew. The engage onto Jree's Thresh accomplished next to nothing. There was so little damage coming down, and Supa Hot Crew were all split. Their angles were a little wrong. Now Supa Hot Crew, they lose themselves a turret, so they give up an additional kill, they lose another objective, and now Impaler's caught.
Oh, Jree didn't want to go that deep. Has to flash quickly out of there. Bouncing bombs continuing to come to you. SELFIE did very well to actually get out of that. That Zhonya's Hourglass was just about point blank. Managed to pull that before the Mega Inferno Bomb. If that had gone down, I feel that would have been an inhibitor, maybe even the game that went.
I agree with you. The wave clear from SELFIE is very important for Supa Hot Crew. Mega Inferno Bomb, not going to get a kill this time, but again, just look at the control Kerp has. He was 1v2 in that situation against Wolfcamp with little backup, and he didn't even care. He's got so much damage that he's just burning through all of Supa Hot Crew. And unfortunately for the Supa Hot Crew, they have not made a single one of their engages work in their favor. Every fight that they have initiated has not gone to plan, and they need to shake it off.
So far it's been KottenX that has been pulling the trigger, getting in there, starting everything off for Millenium. And it is continuing that way. Creaton has been having a whale of a time, honestly. He almost got focused down in that one. You can see MrRalleZ and Impaler trying their best to focus on towards him, but he is in a very safe position, and if that Infinity Edge gets complete, I fear for Supa Hot Crew.
So right now, Millenium are not doing the best at pressing their advantage. They were sieging up the mid tower about 6 or 7 minutes ago, decided to back away, I believe because of vision control. They tried to play the Baron bait game, didn't necessarily work in their favor. They got jumped on, now it's slowed down the game again. Yes, they've got a dragon, but Millenium have not made more inroads into Supa Hot Crew's territory for quite a while. And if you look at the vision, there's no more deep vision in Supa Hot Crew's jungle from Millenium because it's too risky to invade. So if I were Millennium's shoes, I think they should use the power of their sieging champions to get onto the top and the bottom in the turrets. They know they're stronger. They know they can win a team fight if one were to break out. So put your opponents in a position where they need to react and press your advantage. Because as it stands, Millenium are making the same mistakes they did in the spring split, dragging their heels in the mid game and giving their opponents a chance to get back into the game.
See Mimer getting himself the second turret of the game for the Supa Hot Crew. They'll be happy with that. Any objective is one gain. We are seeing potentially this mid lane. I don't think they're going to create any fights here. Kerp just been throwing out bouncing bombs left and right, but not really connecting for a while. And as you mentioned, you know, Millennium possibly going for the long game here. It's something they've done before, that's for sure. They have the stamina to go through 7-hour best of 5 epics and come out on top. So their mental pressure, mental strength, fortitude. I think it's safe, mental fortitude you could say, is certainly there. As I think we heard it in the video just before this game, the fact that Kevin and co took KottenX to one side to, you know, just calm him down. You know, obviously he was a fairly new player, hadn't been through these situations. Kevin, a veteran, honestly, of League of Legends, been around for a very long time. And there is a good mix in this team of experienced and new. There
definitely is, and I want to highlight something else that we've seen in the video feature earlier today. Creaton had a moment where he was saying he's practiced more in the last few days for the summer split than he did throughout all of the spring splits. That brings up some questions, of course, regarding the practice regimes in the Millennium camp. That could have been the reason they finished 8th. But what I do want to highlight is we've just seen a graphic stat drop down. Creaton didn't give up a death in game 1. He went 5-0-0.
He's immortal.
He's immortal today, currently at 8-0-4 on the day. And he's performing phenomenally. If this is Creaton practiced, my word, Millennium, get your manager to keep him practicing solo queue more often because he's playing brilliantly. And when you combo that carrying power with Kerp and KottenX, who are creating opportunities to close out, and Jree landing every death sentence possible, Millennium are in a good position. They're finally looking like they're going to siege a tower. Let's see if they can get onto an objective.
We just saw the Supa Hot Crew SELFIE use Destiny to get some vision. They were probably a little bit worried about Mimer, I'm guessing, down that bottom lane, who did just engage on Kevin, while the rest of the team, of course, is pushing this top objective. And they were wondering whether they can go at it. It's like, am I 1v1? Yes, I am. Let's see if I can take him. And the answer is, no, you damn well can't. Kevin just put a beating on you. And that means the top lane, that's going to go down to Millennium as they keep that poke pressure going, with Kerp just bouncing those bombs through on towards Supa Hot Crew.
So the only threat for Millennium when they get to the inhibitor turrets is being caught out by a multi-man solar flare. In order for Millennium to not give up the lead that they've built up, they just need to stay split up across the lane under the tower. Because as long as wewillfailer can't get a 3, 4, or 5-man stun, Millennium have got enough damage, knockback, and peel to win a team fight. Let's see if Kevin goes down.
Look at this, though. They can tell Kevin is delaying them as much as he can. They know Destiny is down, and Millennium have snuck in, gone straight for Baron, while the rest of the Supa Hot Crew is so focused on taking the blue buff away from the fact that Kevin was pushing it. That is a very sneaky Baron by Millennium.
Very well played. I mean, they had the numbers advantage, and simply put, they had the information to work with. Supa Hot Crew have arrived to the party late. Creaton, he's looking for a kill. wewillfailer's dead.
Stealth Bomber comes in. He won't be able to catch him out, but KottenX flashes through. There's going to be the Super Mega Inferno Bomb coming through. Throwing a little bit of jinx in there as well, who knows? Kevin's going to pounce on through. Randy's Omen will slow Impaler down, but he does manage to safeguard himself away. SELFIE, well, he's trying to push that mid lane, but the rest of his base may well be gone before he gets back.
The only threat to Millennium in this situation was the solar flare. It is no longer available. Supa Hot Crew don't have the numbers to defend. SELFIE's doing the best he can to get some global gold back, but it's not going to be enough. Inhibitors down. Millennium now have complete and utter control of the map. There's very little Supa Hot Crew can do to defend as long as Millennium do not get caught out of position.
So inner turret and inhibitor turret both down between the teams. They're looking to try and make a pick here. Destiny being pulled. Where they're going to go? He's going deep in this one. He has got Zhonya's hourglass ready. KottenX pulled away. Not going to make it. He gets shut down. The AD carried down. KottenX is going to get locked up as well. He gets taken down. And suddenly, the Supa Hot Crew take out both Millenium Stealth champions.
I rest my case. Caught out of position, Millenium split up in the jungle. Had their numbers been tighter together, there may have been enough damage to try and turn that Destiny gank around, but it wasn't the case this time. 40 seconds on the clock for both KottenX and Creaton. Supa Hot Crew will look to get more objectives, but against the wave clear of Kerp, it's going to be very, very difficult. Let's see if Kerp uses his Mega Inferno Bomb to clear out any minion waves. You know what? He doesn't even need to. There are no towers under pressure unless Supa Hot Crew face tank it.
They're going to have to try and face tank it. You can see Mimer's going to come around. He's got Impaler, wewillfailer, and MrRalleZ all there. They're going to get themselves another inner turret. This is a good turnaround, but Supa Hot Crew, they were a long way down in gold. Remember, there is still a Baron buff on these three members of Millenium. They're going to be careful they don't take too much poke. While this is all happening, SELFIE, of course, he's clearing those super minions in that top wave, so he's going to defend themselves and actually buy Supa Hot Crew some time in this game. Dragon is up in 14 seconds, but unfortunately for Supa Hot Crew, they do not have the timer, so they're all backing away. They'd almost certainly be making their way to that pit if they knew. Yeah, they would have got that very quickly as well. I mean, the time it would have taken them to get to that pit would have secured Dragon. Thanks to having zero map presence for the last 10 to 12 minutes, Supa Hot Crew, they run away. They're completely in the dark. The one thing I do want to touch on is SELFIE's item build. After going the Unorthodox Athenes and Holy Grail first, grabs himself Hourglass, Lichbane, and Void Staff. So he's getting to the point now where he has a very large amount of burst. Combo Gold Card plus Lichbane and Wild Card damage. A Creaton could die. He does have some MR now, so it'll help survive. But one of the other things it does is it allows SELFIE to split push and try get towers, which you can see SELFIE again. He's moved to the top lane, shoving down against those super minions, so it protects his Nexus turrets, and it also potentially allows him to get some damage onto this inner turret. And let's see how much damage does with a Lichbane strike. Exactly what SELFIE is doing right now. As you mentioned, he's doing a lot of damage. Kevin's going to try and chase him down. He's got that Brilliance pot on him as well as the Baron buff. He's got a lot of damage. Stun card being used by SELFIE to keep him away. Bottom inner turret does go down, but SELFIE still being pursued, pulls another gold card out, and it may well be necessary. Kevin is not going to give up this pursuit. He's going to chase on towards him. Radiant's Omen popped to slow, SELFIE down. Now he's in trouble. Another gold card pulled. Will he get away? That's the question. He's going to try and ghost as much as he can. He's got flash available. He should be scot-free, but what is happening in the bottom lane?
Yeah, the question is, why did he not Destiny? I think he needs to save the vision for a potential team fight. Kevin has not given up. The rest of Millenium are sieging down this bottom turret. They've got no minions to work with yet.
Yeah, man, gonna try and keep on poking in there. He's finally backed off. They did take half the hit points off. That's not that successful, and it did, though, however, slow down the entire split push that Supa Hot Crew was on the run.
Twisted Fate is going in. Can they get a kill?
He's got Zhonya's hourglass. He's going to have to pull it pretty quick, though. There it is. Bunch to do, bit of Gangnam Style in the same time. Creaton does manage to get caught out, but he flashes away. He's got Rat-a-tat-tat running, and he's just mowing down the Supa Hot Crew, and Impaler has to try and punt him away. SELFIE did get himself one kill on KottenX, but the rest of Supa Hot Crew are backing out.
They've traded jungler for support. That was 3 members of Supa Hot Crew diving onto Creaton. The entirety of Millenium were focusing down the divers, and KottenX was just running interference in the back line. It has ended up with Millenium getting even more presence. This 8th tower secured, and here comes MrRalleZ. He does have those home guard boots. Prevented the inhibitor going down, but that is terrifying for Supa Hot Crew. They had so much invested in killing Creaton, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't burn through his hit points, just not enough damage, and not enough time, really, to squash the rat.
That set aside, Supa Hot Crew tried to buy themselves as much time, but Kerp is going to clear out this gigantic wave that was pushing in the mid lane. That's all been cleared out by the minions and Kerp himself. So, Baron up in 2 minutes. Almost certainly the focus target for Millenium. Will the Supa Hot Crew be able to contest, as they are 12,000 gold behind? They have managed to pick up a couple of kills, and they have a lot of damage now stacked upon their team.
Yeah, very importantly, it is 12,000, which is a massive amount. Don't misunderstand, but at 43 minutes, all of the champions are starting to hit 4, 5 items on the board. So even though the gold amount is very high, the disparity in terms of damage and actual combat statistics is not necessarily as high. We'll need to see if Supa Hot Crew can find a better engage. Previously, SELFIE's Destiny gold card ganks are just not working out. They're not blowing people up quickly enough. And now that Creaton's got a Banshee's Veil to help pop that very first spell as well, it's going to be even more difficult to get through it. So we need to see if somebody can pop it. A wild card has to connect. The Fnatic Death Push, will it work out?
Will it work out? Supa Hot Crew, they have no idea it's in there. Creaton's going to be the focus target. They try and jump in towards him. They lock him down with the solar flare, but Impaler punts him out. They get the wrap down. Jree now focused. KottenX taking all the damage. He's got no Guardian Angel. Mimer doing the damage around the side. Impaler tries to come on towards Kerp with that Guardian Angel. Impaler will go down. Kerp is still being focused target. Mimer can't get him down. KottenX is taken so low. It's a triple kill for Kerp. MrRalleZ comes back around the side. Kerp back out of his Guardian Angel. wewillfailer has to try and get out of this one. MrRalleZ putting the damage down. He takes Kerp, flashes out. Has he got the lifesteal to survive through this? Kevin is going to try and knock him down. The quadra kill was picked up by Kerp in the meantime. MrRalleZ is lifestealing away. He's trying to do everything he can. He's got the armor penetration, but Kevin has enough to lock him down. And it is the ace for Millenium. While that was all happening, KottenX has snuck around the side, but he hasn't quite got enough to take down his Zenith.
And once again, they just didn't blow Creaton up quickly enough. He needed to have gone down, and then everyone on Supa Hot Crew to focus down Kerp. And as you mentioned, Kerp, a quadra kill over the course of the team fight. So much damage, landing every single bomb that he needed to. KottenX gets a lot of damage onto that bottom lane. Actually doesn't secure the inhibitor though. That's very, very key. So map presence and map control still not 100% with Millenium. They'll be looking to rinse and repeat that to get those inhibitors down.
Well, and that gave a chunk of gold. Let's not forget they got 3 kills and a couple of Guardian Angels blocked.
So if you look at the damage, that Mega Inferno Bomb did so much work for Kerp. And MrRalleZ does a good job at staying sort of out of the combat. But unfortunately, Impaler, who has been so far behind this entire game, is next to no threat. KottenX is low, Kerp was low, but they couldn't get the final kills. Supa Hot Crew I'm talking about. And of course, because Kevin has just done such a good job and he's so tanky, nobody's even touched him. He's lost absolutely no hit points at this point, at this stage in the fight, and he's just going to be able to run down MrRalleZ. Had Supa Hot Crew not been 12,000 gold behind, that could have been better. Right now, Millenium on Baron. Let's see if they get started.
Let's see if Supa Hot Crew can go for this one. Impaler is ready and waiting to pounce. He's not within smite range right yet. He has got the ward down. Here it is. That's going to be Destiny Pop. They have full vision of this one, but Impaler, he's too low to get involved in that one, and it was easy in the end for Millenium.
Yeah, I think smart play by Creaton once again. Using his Rat-a-tat-tat to burst down Impaler. It's the second Baron of the game that Millenium have secured. And because Impaler was focused down, he didn't have the HP to go in. Even if he did, he just would have been burst away. And Supa Hot Crew, they tried the death push. They really tried to make it work. Millenium were too close. They had too many members nearby. And unfortunately, I was talking about the combat stats and being closer than it actually was. I mean, look, it was a 5-for-3, right? KottenX got very, very low. And unfortunately, Supa Hot Crew have just taken too long to ramp up, too long to get themselves in a position where they can contest. Don't discount, they do have inhibitors. So there's no super minions pushing against Supa Hot Crew, but it would take a godlike defense to turn this lead around that Millenium have built up.
The amount of damage on every member of both teams, honestly. Everybody's starting to stack out those damage items. Guardian Angels, though, popping back into place for KottenX, but I should notice Kerp sold his and switched items. I'm not too sure what exactly. I'm just going to try and take a quick peek in a moment. We'll see what's the last purchase he made.
There's so many things.
There's so many things bought by
It was Zhonya's.
Zhonya's,
So,
of course he did switch.
Sold the GA for the Zhonya's, who's going to have that invulnerability. You know, it's so hard for Supa Hot Crew to get to him. It's actually not working out. Supa Hot Crew now, they know Baron's been taken, so they're not going to contest. But if you look at Millenium, their vision in the red side of the jungle, they've got so much to work with. Supa Hot Crew simply have to pick up a blue trinket. I mean, if I were in Supa Hot Crew's shoes right now, grab yourselves at least one blue trinket, because the yellow trinkets are not going to do a whole lot for you. Get some vision, prevent going for those blind checks. Impaler dives forward, fights off more than he can chew. Now again, look for the solar flare. In order for Supa Hot Crew to win a team fight, a solar flare has to hit both Creaton and Kerp, and Supa Hot Crew have to blow one of them up quickly and focus the second down immediately after. If wewillfailer doesn't get multiple members, I don't know if Supa Hot Crew can actually win a team fight, because they are in a very bad position right now.
Trying to avoid all that poke from Kerp. You can see wewillfailer getting some good damage on Kevin, but Kevin taking the brunt of it. He's not the one they're looking for. It was certainly someone like Creaton, or almost certainly Kerp.
Yeah, so there was good burst damage from both SELFIE and MrRalleZ that has forced Kevin low. He's going to regenerate relatively well. He's still got 2,500 hit points, so he's still tanky, and with his Dragon's Descent, those get even higher. there is a massive minion wave in the bottom lane. So the moment SELFIE shows his face, expect Millenium to get some more hits in this inhibitor. wewillfailer, solar flare. He needs to use it at some point if Supa Hot Crew want to defend any of these inhibitors.
Oh, there's a hook on wewillfailer. Will they follow through? There's a lot of damage on towards him. The Ignite was thrown down. They're going to try and back it up. SELFIE goes in. Zony's Hourglass pulled in. Creaton gets picked out. That's going to be a big Mega Inferno bomb locking him down. Mimer's in all sorts of trouble. He's locked off the side. Impaler tries to come in and help out, but he's going to simply have to back away from this one while it's all happening. Now we're going to see MrRalleZ. Is he going to get involved in this one? No, he can't, because he's taken so low, and that will be the inhibitor. Could it be the game for Millenium?
There is so much damage on the side of Millenium. If they get onto the Nexus turrets, they certainly can. Kevin has the potential to tank this up. Kevin's actually back at full HP now. Over the course of the fight, he's regenerated a lot thanks to Baron buff. Bottom inhibitors at risk of going down. Millenium set their sights on the mid turret, and Impaler, he wants to go.
He's going deep on this one. Kerp is still there. The hook on wewillfailer tries to follow through. They're trying desperately to try and create a play, try and create anything to force them away, to keep them in this game a little bit longer. And it's worked so far for Supa Hot Crew. They're going to save the second inhibitor. And once again, they hang on by tooth or nail against Millenium.
So a 2-for-1 in the fight. They did get Creaton down, but again, Kerp survives. Again, Kerp gets away with his life. It feels like Supa Hot Crew have enough oomph in them to get one threat, but nothing more. And because Kevin is just so far ahead on that Shyvana, he is running circles around the Supa Hot Crew. And again, it's going to come down to just wewillfailer. He was forced out of that fight super early on. The solar flare was nowhere near optimal, nowhere near what Supa Hot Crew wanted to do. But again, they hold on. And, you know, if you go back and you look at Millenium versus Ninjas in Pajamas, every single game in their best of 5 played out like that. Every single game, either Millenium or NIP had struggles crossing the finish line. And while Millenium have looked much better in Game 1 and Game 2 in the early stages of the matchup, the mid to late game and closing has still not actually got themselves in a great place.
Well, an Ohm Wrecker has just been picked up by KottenX. That's not something you see every day unless you've got Adrian in the game. That was a cheeky blue steal. That's going to be the 6th dragon, I think it is, maybe 7th by Millenium. They've taken every single dragon so far in this game. There it is, 6 dragons, 2 barons. Anyone with fancy points from Millenium will be laughing right now, but also would have been questioning their sanity when they picked it up at the start.
So very quickly, this is the 3rd player in the LCS that has actually picked up their Omreka. Overpower was the first one to do it on Ziggs.
Yes.
Darian was the 2nd one to do it on Shyvana. And now, of course, we're seeing on KottenX on Eve. It immediately tells you they want to go Nexus turrets. Either mid turret or Nexus turrets and just finish the fights out. I'm sad it's taken 50 minutes to get to a point where Millenium are like, hey, you know what, I think we're strong enough to tower dive. But we'll see if they can
We'll take one of those towers away anyway, just to be sure. Kevin takes a burst of damage, but only 1,000 hit points shredded off him. He's still, as you mentioned, just going to regenerate that lot. He takes another stun guard. Millenium taking a lot of damage here, Kevin. He has to take that guard. Oh, Impaler's gone deep on this one. Kicks 3 of them in there. You can see that MrRalleZ trying to put the damage down just over the side there. Kerp gets locked down, taken down. SELFIE back in there. Now wewillfailer locking up on towards Creaton. Creaton taken down. Mimer's on him. And would you believe, Supa Hot Crew turning this one back around. SELFIE's running for his life. Pulls the gold card out. Throws it towards KottenX. Throws out another wild card. And the Sonya's straight away doing the damage on towards him. The Lich Bane proccing off. And they've saved the day once again. It's a 4 for 2 this time to Supa Hot Crew.
SELFIE's figured out how to play Twisted Fate. After 51 minutes, he lands every gold card that he needs to. He gets all of the burst down, just melting Kerp. Focus on Kerp's hit points here on the right-hand side. Look at how quickly he just gets melted by SELFIE. 3, 2, 1. Boom! Just deletes. I mean, that's it. Thanks to the build that SELFIE's got with the Lich Bane proc, gold card, wild cards, etc., he melts through the targets. And unfortunately, KottenX, yes, you're strong, but your own Wrecker is not going to stop a gold card, and it just allows SELFIE to get a couple more kills.
Shut down.
I think this was once again gusto, but on the side of Millenium. They were a little overconfident, they were pushing onto the inhibitor, and because Supa Hot Crew now has the damage to get the kills, Supa Hot Crew bounced back.
It's 3v1 with the Baron up now as Supa Hot Crew move for this one. Have Millenium gone too long in this game, and our Supa Hot Crew going to turn it around? They're going to get this Baron unless Jree pulls off something special. Kerp is up and running. He's got Mega Inferno Bomb available. That's the only weapon to try and make this steal. They have no vision of it. They can see it's taken low. You can see it's 3,000 hit points, 2,000 hit points. It's coming in. It's got it. I don't believe that's just happened. How have they let it go through? How have they let... Oh my God.
Supa Hot Crew have super terrible calling. It's that simple. They all stopped hitting Baron. They all stopped. They were like, okay, we'll stop. I mean, surely there's not enough damage. Surely it's not going to blow them up.
All 5 members were up in time to get the Baron buff.
Look at this. They're like, no, hold on, chill, guys.
Let's just stop, guys.
And no smite. I mean, there's no jungler there.
Oh, God.
So there's no jungler. There was no smite. There was no burst. I don't know if that was just, hey, my burst from wildcards will do it, because that was just a big misplay. Supa Hot Crew were going to wait for the burst and finish it off instead of trying to burst it down themselves.
And the confidence kicker that's going to give you after just creating a great play. Managing to come back and think, guys, we've turned the game around. No, we haven't. We've just let it slide straight away.
So Kerp now deserves 2 cookies. He got 1 earlier for his great play in satchel charges against SELFIE on that Twisted Fate, and now he's stolen himself a Baron with that Mega Inferno Bomb. All of a sudden, Supa Hot Crew's incredibly tense team fights are just compounded even further. It's taken them a long time to try and win a fight. Mimer's off on the flanks. All I'm looking at is gold cards from SELFIE onto the squishy targets. We will failure again.
We will failure once again, as you mentioned. Caught in Solar Flare doesn't really land the target, but nor does Mega Inferno Bomb. MrRalleZ has to step away from that one, taking too low. Destiny pulled out. They're trying to keep vision, but that's going to be another inhibitor turret going down. The wildcards still not doing enough to fling out there and keep Millenium away, as their Baron buff that they managed to just steal away for free is giving them the regen they need.
So no super minions yet. All 3 inhibitors are still up, but there are no turrets remaining. So Millenium now is not going to be needing to force through or push through that objective. At this point, KottenX has also sold the Ohm Wrecker. Now, no Solar Flare, no Destiny. Supa Hot Crew have to defend without the tools that have allowed them to defend for the last 10 minutes. Let's see if they can hold. Millenium, obviously, playing more cautious. It was overconfidence that cost him previously.
Giant stack moving in that top lane, and Millenium are going to know about it soon or later. Somebody's going to have to go up there. Those death sentences being flung out. wewillfailer actually being caught out with the target. SELFIE taking a bouncing bomb there. KottenX has taken some grief from the rest of the team, but just like that, the game is over. Millenium are going to run on through the mid lane. Impaler's getting taken down here. KottenX put a little damage. Death Sensor's not quite landing. Kerp taking a lot of damage. There has to use that Zhonya's Hourglass. The inhibitor's gone down. The super minions are coming through, and Millenium, they've still made a meal of this one. 55 minutes to get this game complete, but it's not over yet. The Solar Flare lands. Kevin tanking up the turret finally going down, but Kevin will fall with it. The rest of Millenium, they're just saying, finish the goddamn game, as they move on towards the Nexus, and Millenium go 2-0 in day 1 of Super Week.
Absolutely dramatic finish. That is the longest game that we've had here today, 55 minutes. And Kerp really set that all up. SELFIE just overextends ever so slightly in front of the inhibitor, gets caught out by the rat-a-tat tank, gets caught out by the bouncing bombs of Kerp's Ziggs. And you know what? Supa Hot Crew dug deep. Give them credit, they dug deep. Had they had less mistakes earlier in the game, that could have been drastically different. You can see they look shell-shocked.
Well, I can't imagine how they feel, really. You know, the fact that you do, like I say, you hang on for 50 minutes, it was roughly, when they finally got that 4-2 fight at their own inhibitor turret. They finally turned the fight around. They go to the Baron, and they lose it to a Mega Inferno Bomb from literally a respawning Kerp. It's a kicker, that's for sure. Absolute heartbreak. And as soon as that happened, you know, their hearts would have completely sunken. All credits to Millenium. They hung on in there. They pushed and prodded as long as they could, and finally managed to break the deadlock. And they're now 2-0 in the league and leading the European LCS.
2-0. And I would say their individual ability and their laning phase has been the best out of anybody we've seen all day long. The first 10 to 15 to 20 minutes of the game have been absolutely sublime in both of their performances. Keep in mind they were playing against Roccat and, of course, the Supa Hot Crew. We'll need to see how they do against the likes of Alliance, the likes of Fnatic. But that is a very promising start to the Summer Split for a team that just barely scraped through. I mean, they really just got in by the skin of their teeth against the Ninjas in Pajamas during the promotion tournament.
Well, they've certainly got some big games ahead of them. That's coming up over the next 2 days. What a fantastic start over on Millenium. Of course, you could reflect maybe Summer Split. They went 4-0 in the opening Super Week, as we mentioned. I think they were top the table for about 7 weeks during that until Lemon Dogs finally managed to turn the tables on them. But this is a very good start by a team that, honestly, a lot of people at the start of Spring Split had them in their top 4. They completely underachieved, I feel most people thought, through the Spring Split. They've made the changes necessary at the end of spring instead of during the break. Is it enough? Is it what they needed?
It has been
Because
so
Rocket,
far.
you know, you talked about taking Rocket down. Rocket finished third in the spring split.
They did, and they will be playing Gambit in the next game. We'll see how they're going to perform. The one thing that I do want to take away, the early game from Millenium's good. I also think the pick and bans have been good. We've seen them on red side, we've seen them on blue side. And I've been impressed both times. They've got champions that I feel were good, were positive. We touched on sort of important picks throughout the game, and they all seem to slot into place. And Kerp on Ziggs was a monster. If we look at the other side of the coin, Supa Hot Crew played a list of champions that are somewhat out of their comfort zone, I would feel. And if they had less individual mistakes on the respective champions in the early game, that could have been very different. You know, the gameplay could have changed quite drastically. So maybe a little more comfort on these wider champion pools could work into Supa Hot Crew's favor.
And let's talk about wewillfailer back in the LCS once again. What was his opening debut like for the Supa Hot Crew? Didn't create the level 2 players that we're used to seeing with Mixer and MrRalleZ. MrRalleZ honestly had a fairly quiet game, I feel.
He did, and I think if we look at let's look at wewillfailer first. 4-5-6 on Leona. His engages were not bad, but they were not inspiring, and his team was behind. So it's very difficult when you're playing as a Leona to try and get it in the face of a Ziggs who's just going to throw bombs at you all day when he's got, you know, X amount far more and items more. So it's a difficult position to be in. But I do think that as a team, Impaler's focus on the bottom lane ganks were forced, and they weren't for the best decision. So unfortunately, that goal of trying to get MrRalleZ rolling may have actually hurt Supa Hot Crew. So they'll need to review that for the rest of Super Week.
And maybe that leads in for Impaler wasn't quite the one we were thinking. Yeah. Nevertheless, we're going to send it over to Shox, who is standing by on stage with Millennium's KottenX.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Indeed, joined by KottenX here after that Millennium win 2-0 here on the very first day. Tell me about that game, because you guys were doing very well early game, and then it went, true Millennium style, very late.
Oh yeah, so we had a bit of a problem like closing out the game. We take it carefully because we want to make sure that we didn't lose, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you guys did do very well. Also, early game in both games today, very aggressive. How much of that is you're doing actively? Do you tell them to play more aggressive, or do you just come around so they have to?
So actually, it's my team who wants me to play aggressive, to put pressure on the lanes, so they can do whatever they want, and I think it works well for us. Like, we ward a lot, and we get the vision control.
Yeah, it absolutely works very well for you guys. How have you been feeling in the team? Kevin mentioned that sometimes they have to calm you down a little because you get very excited. It is a big stage, obviously. So how have you been feeling?
So yeah, I'm a bit of an emotional player, but he usually calms me down, and we take it easy, and it makes me perform a lot better in game.
And it makes the entire team very well at this moment. Congratulations, and thank you very much.
Thank you for the interview.
Well, after us, we're going to take a short break. We still have one game coming here today, and what a game it is. Gambit Gaming will take on Rocket. We'll be right back after this.
Mimer, I have 0% CDR now. Okay.
This is how you play it.
Get me fat and it's GG.
Destiny comes in though, he's going to try and teleport him towards him. Mimer comes down here, he's going to get the stun up. Oh, he didn't quite get the kill, the ignite running, no! He's got Mega Inferno Bomb available, that's the only weapon to try and make this steal. They have no vision of it, they can see it's taken low, you can see it's 3,000 hit points, 2,000 hit points, it's coming in! He's got it! I don't believe that's just happened, how have they let it go through?
Next MVP maybe?
No thanks.